What is up, guys? Hopefully you're all doing good. Just gonna go through this trade recap from today's session. So let's just look at what we traded into, guys. We traded into a relevant low here on both ES and NQ, and then same thing with YM here. So at this specific point, you want to be asking yourselves if we're willing to either reverse, which we would be manipulating to continue going higher back to the next relevant high, opposing relevant swing point, which would be this one right here, right? All this is clearly all failure swings, but those are the two questions you're asking: if we're willing to manipulate, or are we failing to manipulate to clearly continue going lower back to the next relevant low here. Clearly it was a little trickier today because we only had one specific candle. Monday and Tuesday were both combined into one daily candle, so we didn't really get Monday's candles to get a better idea on what it was going to do. But other than that, once we go into the 4 hour, we want to now anticipate our 4 hour profile, basically the daily profile. You can anticipate the daily profile within the 4 hour to 1 hour. I preferably like the 4 hour because you can get a better idea of what each session did, which Asia and London did, and then you can use that idea going towards the New York session. So we had an SMT here forming at the opening high right here, and then we started expanding during London, right? So like I said first, the question is that if you want to see us either manipulate and to continue going higher, or are we going to fail to continue going lower? The idea going in today was more bullish just because why? We were at a discount. Well, technically we were at the low of this whole range here, considerably a discount, and based off the daily profile, we didn't really have any liquidity taken to the from the upside to confirm the move lower, right? We just formed this minor SMT here and expanded lower, right? Leaving these inefficiencies open, like this gap that we had on Sunday, the weekly open right here. And then seeing this 2 a.m. candle, I was anticipating to see how the 6 a.m. candle, this 4 hour candle, the 6 a.m. open candle right here. I wanted to see how it would close, to be honest. 10 o'clock was mainly my time that I wanted to trade, just because I needed to get more information on what we were going to do at this specific relevant low that we were trading it within. There were a little well, I'm going to break through it all. I want to break through the YM short that I tried taking in the beginning, and I'll explain on why I took it. And then I also took an NQ buy coming back to the highs. So if we go into our 1 hour, we want to now break down this specific 6 a.m. candle, this 4 hour. So we go into the 1 hour, and you can clearly see. Let me just mark the opening right here for YM as well. You can see how 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and then 6 a.m. here, we expanded. We formed a relevant a low here. We consolidated basically within 8 a.m. And then we actually formed this type of SMT right here with ES here. Right? And we were actually failing to respect, well, sorry, we were respecting it, but 9 o'clock, you can see we took that out and we disrespected that inefficiency right here. So what I was anticipating was, because I wanted to see some type of SMT forming, right, to confirm this reversal. We do have that nice expansion based off the 9 o'clock closure, which gave us that 4 hour closure. So you can anticipate this as the C1, C2, but this is the C2 that failed to close back within the range. So once you have this type of candle, you want to wait for the next current candle to to close, so then you can trade the change in the state of delivery, right? Once you get that change in the state of delivery, you can now trade against the actual move that happened during London, and we can now target some highs to the upside. So going on to the hourly once again, this is exactly what I was looking at right here for NQ, but what I was specifically looking at was to see if YM, because since it was the weakest and it was the closest to the relevant low here, I wanted to see a YM take out this low here. Personally, I wanted to see it take out the low because on the higher time frame, we do have an SMT, right here. So we have the SMT right here, NQ taking it out, and YM's respecting it, right? But what I wanted to see was that swing point being taken out to get that nice two-stage SMT to confirm the move higher, like basically a strength switch, because since we were so close to this relevant low, I wanted to see YM take it out, form a reversal, basically a strength switch to see YM now trying to catch up with NQ and ES since it's higher in the range already. And then we can continue going higher, taking this low resistance liquidity. So I want to break down the short first, and I'm gonna make this larger here. So first step first was that what gave me the short idea was because the way this 4-hour closed. First of all, we closed back within. We failed to close above the inefficiency, which we still respected it, right? Going on to the 15-minute, I think it was right here. Well, actually, it was a 3-minute. Yeah, you can see 9:30 tapping into it right here. So we did have a two-stage from right here to here, and then off this 9:30 high. But then there was no signal to show that short idea. We then now came back above, taking out the 9:30 high, including the pre-New York high right here. And then we formed this change in the state of delivery. Personally, I waited till the open, which we had that expansion, we had a retracement, and then we had that nice change in the state of delivery right here, right? And meanwhile, you can see NQ at this specific moment, we were actually consolidating here, right? So this is what gave me the idea that since it's consolidating, it's waiting for YM. I was anticipating it this way, that YM needed to take out this relevant low for then now for us to get that nice SMT right here, right? But you can clearly see if we go back to YM that it took out this low and then we fully reversed it, right? So I took a loss here. I had my entry right here, stop loss right there, and I wanted to target. It was a 1.75 if we just drag it 1 to 2 right here, not far from the draw. So the risk was reasonable, I would say, just for that specific idea. It was just, I guess, this liquidity, this swing point was more than enough, I guess. I just personally didn't really like it because we were creating failure swings towards this extreme relevant low. But you can see hindsight later on that we then target it, right? So one of those days, guys. It's basically this whole week. If we go look at Forex Factory right here this week, you can see there's some major news. But we have this WEF annual meetings, which is happening every day, and tomorrow's the same thing, which is a red folder. Why? Because President Trump is speaking as well. So I'm not really excited to see what tomorrow holds because of how I experienced today's session. It was pretty disgusting. Even if I'm going to show you NQ in a second, but you can just see how the delivery was really bad. Just leaving these failure swings and then just manipulating it higher one more time before the actual move happened later on. Let's actually, I just want to see something here. Like if we go back here, yeah, just seeing that on the 4 hour too as well was pretty bad. If we go into the 30-minute here, we do have like a nice see, this is another thing too. The 30-minute was nice. We did expand lower, forming a nice gap as well, and then 9:30 also respecting the gap too. So it was all of the signs were showing for it to go lower. I guess, like I said, the conditions sometimes fade your idea and then just decides to do another thing. But things happen, guys. Now moving on to NQ. So now that we have that idea that we said we wanted to get that change in the state of delivery, which we got, we can now start looking for some liquidity and where the draw could be, which first of all was Asia high and then most likely the gap here. Now dropping onto the 30-minute, you could see we did have that nice change in the state of delivery right here, right? And then we have this closure above a 9:30, so this would be the hourly closure right here. We then now want to anticipate an open, low, high close type of idea. You can see how we also tapped into this order block as well, and respecting it and then reversing from it. So if we go into our 3-minute, you could see how we I think we even formed an SMT here as well. Yeah, we did form an SMT right here, just to give us that reversal signature. And this is where I took out my loss. So once I saw this, guys, I started to I took an entry, I think right here, moved my stop loss just right at the breaker, at the rejection block right here, and then I started to target a nice 2R objective right here, which there was still some like I was looking at this high right here specifically to see if we were able to target that. So if I were willing to, so 1.7, not too bad, close to a 2R. I personally didn't want to target that gap because clearly with the conditions I was not anticipating that to happen. But yeah, you can see how we started expanding really nice. We had this nice change in the state of delivery on the 5-minute. Let me just actually move to the 5-minute. We had a nice change in the state of delivery, which I was tempted to move my stop loss, but I told myself, you know what, I'm gonna let this breathe a little, just because with the conditions I was anticipating some type of retracement, which happened, and then you could see we started failing some bearish PD arrays here, right, which was showing a good sign for us to hit back here to Asia high and then to that swing point that I had marked earlier. But now we started to reject that and go closer. I personally actually closed. I closed somewhere around here actually, because if we look at all of them, yeah, I closed around here just because you could see how the ES and YM were actually going lower, which personally, just the way the market was moving, guys, I did not want to take another loss. I just secured the profit that I had here, which I was able to minimize my loss, and I feel like that was the right choice, because you can clearly see afterwards we had some choppiness and then boom. So you can imagine if I actually kept the normal stop loss, and I would have taken a much bigger loss today, right? And this is why sometimes listening to your intuition is a good thing, and it's not just it's that gut feeling, guys. It's not emotion at all. That's emotion and your gut feeling, your intuition are two separate things. The gut feeling is actually like your body actually giving you a signal, which is based off things that you've seen from the past, right? So always listen to your gut feeling. Don't reject it. Don't actually assume that it's like an emotion, because it's not an emotion. Not at all. Not at all. Your gut feeling is something like your body trying to talk to you, basically, right? So once you get that feeling that, like, you know what, let me do this, like how I felt like I should have not moved my stop loss, that was a good feeling. And look what happened. I would have gotten stopped out immediately. Was in a bit of drawdown, but I let it play out, and then you could see it us reversing. I was like I said, I think I secured somewhere around here, to be honest. Yeah, but it would have been nice if I was able to secure up to this high, you know. But hey, it is what it is. At the end of the day, all I'm saying is I'm grateful that I was able to minimize my loss, right, to under $100, guys. So very little. So I'm not even pissed or anything like that. But I'm definitely gonna be extra precautious tomorrow. I guess the one thing that I can say that I could learn today off this review is maybe not trying to trade the counter trend, or AKA the manipulation, right? At the end of the day, I was anticipating more into the bullish side, right? So I should have just stuck with that and then just wait for my idea to play out. If not, then I would have just not traded. Simple as that. But getting that nice confirmation on NQ on the 4 hour, I should have never faded it, especially with the bias that I had with YM, knowing that if NQ is rejecting, then clearly YM and ES will reject, right? But again, I was just anticipating us to hit this relevant low, which we did. We eventually did, but clearly price wanted to do something else, and it's so disgusting also how we left Asia high just like that without even tapping into it. Like any other day, this would have just expanded towards it easily. But you can see how we left it and then went lower. So wow. And even look at this, we even left this previous day's low here. That's crazy. But anyways, guys, other than that, that is all for this trade recap. Hopefully you guys stay safe, take care. Hopefully you guys learned something from this, and then we'll be back tomorrow, of course, usually. Let's just honestly, as of right now, it's very difficult to anticipate buys because of this large bearish candle. So again, the only way that we're gonna base it off is off the 4 hour to base our daily profile. Once we can get that, if we get a nice SMT, a nice expansion with expansion to confirm that reversal, that's the only way that I'll be anticipating buys. But other than that, guys, have a good night, stay safe, and we'll talk tomorrow.